would you like to discover the path to joyful living? Ricardo Viso will tell us how to do it. He is a global entrepreneur, speaker, podcaster, and former executive who's turned life's toughest moments into powerful lessons for joy. So, Ricardo, tell us more about the path to joyful living. How does one get there?
Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
I think it's a very good question. I think you get there by consciously wanting to get there. The first thing you need to realize is that you actually want to. Let me go back a little bit. People go through life like getting things, being successful, getting accolades, but they don't stop for a moment many times to enjoy what they're doing, or in the process to getting where they want to get or where they want to accomplish. So I think the path begins with you acknowledging that you want to enjoy what you do. You want to enjoy your days. You want to enjoy your life. You want to enjoy your relationships, your work. That's where the path begins.
Thank you. What would you tell people who kind of expect that once they have, a car, a house, gazillion dollars, once they have certain things, they expect then to have the happiness that they desire. And I think oftentimes they might even hide behind things like, "Oh, I'm just doing this for you, honey," they tell that to their spouses. And then they realize actually they have lost exactly the very thing they were fighting for the entire 20 years.
I think that's again, it has to do with when you search or you're looking to obtain happiness when something happens. The problem is with just setting that, because first of all, once you get there or you accomplish whatever you were put it, a car, a promotion, getting married, having kids, the joy or the happiness of that is momentaneous. It's just a moment. It doesn't last. So in the process, if that process was not enjoyable, you didn't enjoy what you were doing, the purpose just completely diminishes. So the problem is exactly that you normally are waiting for something to happen to be happy. And that's absolutely, it does not work. In the end, it does not work because you're searching for something, first of all, again, that it lasts very few seconds. You get your car. Imagine you get your car, you finally get it. You go to the agency, to the dealership, you get your car, you go out, you drive. You're happy for how long? Actually, the first stop sign, that happiness is gone. So, but the process to being able to get that car, that's where you have to focus on trying to enjoy. You have to make a habit out of enjoying what you do.
Thank you.
Sacrificing, you put that part of, well, I'm doing it for you, for your spouse, for your kids, that doesn't work either. You cannot live like that, or you shouldn't live like that. Because if you're sacrificing your life for someone else or for someone else to obtain something, what's happening with your life, what's going on there, it doesn't work.
Thank you. So how can someone integrate? I don't know, let's say they're doing a really boring job where they have to be incredibly focused all day. Imagine someone who works in a cold calling marketing company, or let's say that they get inbound calls back to back, or they're trading stocks or something that requires their focus the entire day, where they pretty much have to be serious all day. They have to be incredibly focused and committed, and they can't make any errors, because if they do, something really terrible can happen really quickly. What do you suggest people do to kind of like integrate joy into their work and into their life so that there's there's that feeling of joy throughout their life.
Love that example because you can find exactly, let's put two people that are working the exact same job, and one of them is enjoying a little bit more than the other. And it has to do with the mindset. If you approach your job as, exactly as you put it, I need to be all day long without any errors, it's long hours, it's very stressful, and you talk yourself into that, normally that person's not going to enjoy most of the day. But the other guy that's doing the exact same job many times is going to approach it different. It's like, oh, I'm helping somebody, focusing on what that particular task or job, and it has to do with everything you do in life. You can always approach it in two different ways. So that's what makes the difference, how you approach, what mindset you put into that task or that situation or that problem or that relationship, whatever you're talking about. It's always about that, how you approach that situation.
Thank you. Would you agree as well that there are certain types of jobs that will ensure that kind of like joyful living throughout because they allow for that, and there are actually other jobs where perhaps there's a mismatch, there's a misalignment between like what you're capable and willing to do, and you have like a natural ability towards, and then there's other jobs that, let's say, you're fully capable of doing, but they just like cause you so much stress that really is just not worth it. How does someone know when to kind of like quit a certain job to look for something that perhaps allows them to have that joy throughout their life, including at work?
I believe that any job, any relationship, anything that you are not enjoying most of the time, you have to get out of it one way or the other. And let me put you a great example. I was diagnosed with cancer 4 years ago, and I've had two oncologists. One is the kind of person that was always, I don't think he even knows my first name. I was Mr. Viso. I was this patient number with this illness, this treatment. That's it. And he goes, he sees many, maybe 30 patients a day. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't enjoy his job, but I can guarantee you he doesn't. And it's a stressful job. He's treating patients with cancer. So you can say, okay, I understand that. Okay. But I have another oncologist now. I switched. And every time I go with her, she laughs. She has a good time doing exactly the same thing, but they are focusing on different things. She's focusing on the patient, on how you're feeling, what you're all about, and the other guy is focusing on the illness. This is cancer. This is what I have to do. So the approach makes a whole difference on how you do it. And again, it's exactly the same job. And again, it's very stressful. And I think in the end, we always find an excuse to keep a relationship or a job that we don't enjoy. And there's tons of different excuses we can make, and they are good. They are real. No, I need to make money. I need to live. I need to survive. I cannot live her. I cannot live him. All of them are good excuses, and you can make actually a good argument with those. But in the end, you're just fooling yourself because you don't come to this life not to enjoy it. That's a fact. You are supposed to enjoy what you do. You're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to laugh. And again, there are many different situations that life throws at you that you're not going to be able to laugh all day long. Of course, not all days are enjoyable. Not everything is enjoyable. But when you're focusing consciously on trying to enjoy whatever is it that you're doing or whatever relationship you're in, most of the times, those moments when it's bad, it's easier to shift into enjoying it again or enjoying a little bit more. So in my mind, again, and it's something that I've become much more adamant about that, but you cannot stay at a job that you're not enjoying for the sake of making money or survive. You can't. You shouldn't. You can, but you shouldn't.
Thank you. So, give me an example of what someone would do to integrate more joy into their life or business. Now, for example, in my case, what I find quite fun, okay, is to be very playful, and I'm talking like very playful at home. And I'm quite lucky because over the last 14 years, I've had a business partner and life partner who is also very playful. So, because we work together and we live together, we can always switch from like being very serious to being playful and to being a little bit sensual and to like having all these kind of like innuendos, and it can happen like really quickly, which makes it for a very fun transition during the day. So this could go something like this. So let's say he might come home and he's very fun, and so he let's say if he was to buy carrots or apples or something, he would say, "You're not going to believe what I bought." And just that, the fact that there's this amazing introduction, which makes me very curious. And it could be something very plain. It really is. Usually, there's nothing like out of the ordinary. There's no rabbit coming out of a bag, you know. But it's just the way he says it that makes it like hilarious. So I'm like, okay, so what did you buy? And he will say, "Well, you have to look in the bag." And
I
then he
love it.
right? And then he would say like, "Oh, you're not going to believe what I'm going to make for you." And again, there's that curiosity element and the element and the playfulness of it, right? Oh, so what are you going to make? Oh, you have to wait and see. So again, there's this playfulness that goes on, right? And then he will go into business quickly, and it will be something like, "You're not going to believe who I met today." And I'll say, "Who?" "Oh, you're not going to believe there's this guy, Pedro, and he had this business. It was so interesting. I talked to him on the podcast and he was incredible. And this is what I learned from him." "Oh, that is so interesting." And it kind of goes into, are we going to be naughty tonight? And I
Love
say,
it.
"Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And he'll say, "Yeah, shall we have 3 hours of Netflix now?" So it's just like there's this complete banter that kind of goes on during the day, where it's like from playful to fun to hilarious to business to, but because there's this playful and fun, you can say a theme that goes along with it. It's like everything is fun, and it could be something really bad happening, it could be something really good happening, but because there's this, "You're not going to believe what happened," there's this
And
kind
it
of
becomes it
curiosity.
becomes and it becomes his nature. But what you're telling me, and that's exactly, actually, I mean, you're answering that question perfectly well. It's when you give that element of joy, of fun to any task you're doing, it changes completely. I don't know if you remember this, but when Virgin Atlantic, the airline of Richard Branson, went out, you remember every time you go into a flight and they give you all these instructions of the seatbelt and you've never ever in your life listened to it except the first time you fly, because you don't care, and the guys that are doing it are, they just wanted to get over with. And they started doing it in a fun way. They put a video where they were dancing, and so you pay attention to it. And they did it differently than Southwest. And you can find so many examples of that. And the thing is, when you're stuck and you imagine you don't have the ability, or you're not used to doing what you were saying about this person, which I love, is you create your joy file. What gives you joy in a day? Listening to something, eating something, watching something, talking to somebody. What gives you or brings you joy? And you start trying to do those things on a regular basis as a habit. The same way you create habits to eat better, to exercise, to work better, you need to create your habits to enjoy and have fun. And then it becomes, again, I love the example you put because that's exactly what it's all about. He can come home and say, "Oh, I bought this," and put it in the fridge or put it in the table, and that's it. But he goes in and you have to you guess what I brought. That's amazing. It brings a whole different thing, and that's exactly how you get more joy and more fun out of life. It's a perfect example. And it doesn't
Thank you.
cost anything. It's not hard to do it, but you need to do it consciously. It doesn't happen just by the sake of it. Normally you would arrive home after a long day of working, not enjoying it. So you normally don't do what he does. But now he does it like it's nature. It's nature for him. And that's great.
Thank you. The other thing that you mentioned that was quite interesting was about the joy habit stacking, right? So, for example, in my case, I used to do something which was called the happiness calendar. So, I used to work when I was younger. I used to work from 9 till 7:30, and I remember that those were like set dates when I was working Monday to Friday. And then what I would do is I would choose moments before 7 or after, before 9 or after 7:30, and I was putting into my calendar things I knew would bring me joy. In the same way that I would plan my work day, I was also planning my joyful days. And for example, things like doing my nails or going for a walk or playing tennis or playing squash or dancing or swimming, right? So, and it was a non-negotiable thing that I promised myself to do. So even if I was tired, I knew that if I went swimming for an hour, I would feel amazing after that. So
You
it was part of
perfectly put it that way. Exactly. It's you normally, again, you're disciplined, or many people are disciplined in every or many areas. Again, exercise, nutrition, work, and they never make time or discipline to have fun. And you perfectly put it. It's non-negotiable. You put it in your calendar and you do it. You do your nails. You do a walk. You go and play tennis. You go and eat hot chocolate or have a coffee or whatever is it that you enjoy. And that's the good part about joy, that it's very easy to define. You can perfectly tell me what you enjoy. And it's not about just living like that, because I mean, in the end, in order to be happy and to really enjoy life, you have to have a purpose and all of those things. But on a day-to-day basis, those small things are the ones that make the difference. It's like vitamins. They give you that joy of living, and they should be non-negotiable, and they should be part of your life, and they should be a habit. That's exactly what we should be focusing on. Because again, if you are very successful, you're very well nurtured, you're very well exercised. I mean, you're a machine. You're a perfect machine of a human being, but you're not enjoying it. I mean, what's the purpose on that? Well, it doesn't really make sense, because if you die the next day, well, you were a perfect machine, a human machine, but you didn't enjoy anything that you did. It doesn't make sense if you see it like from a different perspective. It really doesn't make sense.
Thank you. For those entrepreneurs trapped in shoulding themselves, as in like that feel, for entrepreneurs that feel like they should do this and they should do that, but they don't actually do it. What do you recommend they do so that they have the right path towards joyful living, where they are not trapped in I should, I should do this, I should do that, but I really don't feel like it, so I'm going to do nothing. Or I
It,
should, I know, take out my spouse for a walk or to the movies or whatever, but I don't have time. What would you say to those people who feel
it's
like
a
they
very
don't have
small,
time?
it's 3 steps in my mind that I created in my mind. And that's what we work in workshops and all of these. It's recognize that you want to have fun, that you want to enjoy more. Identify what brings you joy or what do you enjoy, and consciously doing it. Again, it's just a matter, we always gonna find a way to say we don't have time. I need to focus on making ends meet. I need to focus on this or that. Yeah, you always have time, and you can always make the space to focus on enjoying what you're doing. Again, it's not that you're going to enjoy 24/7 and you're going to be this happy soul that it's always laughing. No, it doesn't work that way. Nobody, that doesn't work like that. But you do, when you focus on that, on having fun and enjoying, you start to make a life that it's worth living because you're enjoying. Again, when you're enjoying your days more, your life is happier. That's math. No, you don't need to have a clear explanation on that. If you're having good days, normally you're having a better life.
Thank you. How does a depressed entrepreneur go from depressed to joyful? The reason I ask you this is because one thing that I found useful was to think of the emotion I felt during a particular moment that I had the most amount of joy, and then to think of it in my head and to intensify it, to visualize the intensification of that, like a really joyful moment, like winning, I know, a particular award, or graduating, or something that kind of like gives you joy, and then kind of like expand from there. Also asking myself, okay, when you get to a moment of extreme sadness or extreme failure, and then you kind of feel like, oh my God, I'm not sure how I'm going to get out from this one, to kind of ask yourself the question of what always makes me feel good no matter what. And there's always like a go-to for you. Like, what would you say to that for people that want to go from depressed to joyful?
Look, and again, you have the answers and you're telling them honestly amazing, but it's when you have a bad situation, a bad moment, a bad whatever you want to call it, there are two options. Either you start or you keep focusing on that situation, on all the bad things that can happen. And normally, not medically speaking, when you're depressed, medically speaking, that's completely different. But when you're just creating anxiety in your mind, and you're focusing on all the bad things that could happen in your job, in your life. And if you go down that, it's a never ending way of thinking. Your mind will always give you different things to be worried about because he's trying to protect you. So the only thing you can do is, again, focus and start at least to think about the good things that you have, a good memory. And you might believe that doesn't work. It does. When your mind receives a good emotion, again, it can be a memory, it can be tasting something, listening to something, watching something, that keeps your mind of getting into that negative cycle. And another brief example, when I was diagnosed with cancer, the first thing you would say, oh, cancer. Well, normally when you talk about cancer, it's death, everything is bad. And I had a terrible couple of weeks. And then I said, okay, but I feel great. I have this, I have that. And I started thinking about all the good things that I do have, memory. Again, all the things that might help me feel better. And the bad thoughts and the bad moments and the bad feelings are going to be there. You cannot avoid them. But you train your mind to go from those, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty bad. And it starts thinking that way. And you help your mind do that. And the way you said it can be actually a memory. It can be, I remember whatever good memories you have. You always have good memories, one or the other, or good moments, or again, tasting something, listening to something, watching something, and that changes your mindset and it doesn't allow you to keep on that negative cycle.
Thank you. What are some ways that you've managed to overcome perhaps a sad situation and go to joyful living by perhaps reframing it in a positive light? The reason I ask you this is, for example, I've gone through situations that were clearly negative, but by being able to see it in a fun way, I was able to like overcome it. So, for example, one year, I mean, one of the months that I was many years ago, okay, I had, I would say, about 50 something thousand coming into the account every month, okay. in terms of like, gross revenue. And then in December, what happened is that a lot of people that were, bringing the revenue for the business, they were going home because it was a property management business, right? And a lot of them would actually either pay late or they would just like leave without paying. So there was like a cash flow issue where sometimes the money would come in and there were also a lot of bills coming out, and there was like this mismatch, this synchronization that sometimes was a mismatch. And one thing that happened that had never happened before was that I remember I had booked this trip to go to Dubai, and I had like zero in the account that had come in for December. Okay. And it was kind of like a very frightening moment because I knew when we got there, we had to pay for the hotel, right? But one thing that happened was that I remember telling my partner, that means we will have the opportunity to wash dishes in the hotel until we pay our bill. Of course, I was joking. I was sure that some money would come in, and luckily, by the time we got to the hotel, the money started pouring in, and everything was fine. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes you have these moments where you have to, like, be positive, and that's how you come to the
Yeah,
light of it. So, would you agree with that?
completely. And again, you make fun of your situation. You do. You find moments, actions, whatever brings your mind out of that negative cycle. You said it. And I love your examples because they are great. It's okay, I'm going to get there. Well, but we have the opportunity to wash dishes in Dubai. Who has the opportunity to wash dishes in Dubai? And it becomes a joke. It becomes something, and that immediately takes the negative cycle out of it, and it's a huge difference for your mind. And that's exactly how you do it. Again, you can think of terrible situations. We've all had some, and it's not about who has it better or worse. But every time you have a bad situation, there are many other good things happening in your life. There are good things that happened. There are good things that make you feel good. You focus on them and you try to think about them, no matter what the situation is. And when you get your mind trained like that, it starts doing it by itself. You get those bad feelings, those bad situations. You think about the worst that could happen, and then your mind starts to think, okay, but I feel great. But I can do the dishes in Dubai and create a video of that, and that's an amazing adventure. So your mind starts to create those scenarios, and it changes the negative cycle. Again, it does. And that's science. It's not something that I believe in or that you've done it, and it works that way.
Thank you. Uh, Tell us where entrepreneurs can connect with you.
They can find me in Experience Viso in Instagram, or there's a website, Experience Viso. And I created a Joyful Living Lounge, which is a community that I'm launching actually. And the Joyful Living Lounge is about that. It's a space where there's only good vibes, and you can laugh, you can find things that make you happy. And that's right now in Facebook. Right now, it's a Joyful Living Lounge like that. And anytime people want to connect to create a better atmosphere in their workplace, in what they're doing, I would love to help. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to help people find a way to enjoy more what they do. Even if it's a little bit, it helps. It does create a difference.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health change makers to live your healthiest life ever.